Okay, so we'll begin the first session after lunch. The first speaker is Haiyi from University of Minnesota for the moment. She's moving to CMU soon. We talk about bridging AI and HCI. Okay,
yeah. Thank you for the introduction. And hi, everyone. My name is Haiyi Zhu. As I mentioned, I'm currently an assistant professor at the University of Minnesota, but I'm joining the Human-Computer Interaction Institute at Carnegie Mellon University this fall. Today, I'm going to talk about the bridging AI and HCI, incorporating human values into the development of AI technologies. So, as we all know, today's theme, the whole workshop's theme, is the recent development in research on fairness. So, a lot of machine learning-based systems are increasingly used in a lot of everyday services, and particularly in some very high-stake decision-making contexts, such as criminal justice and child protection. So there is increasingly a growing attention to the issue of fairness in such systems. So speaking of the recent development, so in a recent paper actually published in 2018, and 3 researchers from University College London and the University of Oxford and interviewed 27 public sector machine learning practitioners across 5 different countries regarding the challenges of understanding and incorporating fairness into their everyday work. Everyday work in terms of building actual machine learning systems to assist those high-stake decision makings. And this is what they found in their paper. So this is what they wrote, that the interview results suggest a disconnect between the organizational and the institutional reality, constraints, and needs. And those addressed by current research into usable, transparent, and discrimination-aware machine learning, absence is likely to undermine practical initiatives unless addressed. So they provide a lot more details, and in their paper, basically what they are saying is that the methods, all these fairness-aware machine learning methods, are built in isolation, both from the specific stakeholders and their needs, actual values, and the context where the system is embedded. So my background, about my background, I am a human-computer interaction researcher. So we, as a group of HCI researchers, what we do is to study the setting in which the computing technology is embedded and the needs and values of people in these settings, and in order to design a better computing technologies. So we have the tools to potentially can maybe address and close the gap. So this is also my primary interest, and my research interest is to study, design, and evaluate intelligent systems in the real world. And the goal is to create more fair, accountable, better intelligent systems. So based on my recent study, and this is my provocation, and which is fairness is not the only human value that we need to consider in the design of AI systems. So fairness is still extremely important, but we realize that in order for this AI system to actually work, and we need to consider a wide range of human values, including fairness. And the challenges is how we can incorporate these multiple stakeholder values in the design and potentially balance these different stakeholder values, especially when they are conflicting with each other. So my talk today will be organized this way, and I will first talk about one of our recent projects on creating, deploying, and evaluating an intelligent recruitment system in Wikipedia. And specifically, I will talk about how we address the challenge of incorporating and balancing multiple stakeholders' values. And next, I will talk about some of our ongoing work on redesigning the AI-based quality control systems in Wikipedia. Yeah.
What does recruitment system in Wikipedia mean?
Oh, I will talk about it the next slides, or maybe next few slides. Okay. And the second work is actually a collaboration work with Stephen Wu, who was the organizer of this workshop. And finally, I will talk about the big picture, I guess. So first, to answer the question. So first, Wikipedia. I guess everyone here knows what Wikipedia is. And Wikipedia is the largest encyclopedia in human history. But what interests me most is it's not just an encyclopedia. It is the largest collaborative project in human history. So one thing I have been exploring since my PhD is how Wikipedia community actually manages these hundreds of millions of volunteer contributors from all over the world with very different backgrounds, expertise, and interests, and to achieve a common goal, which is write a coherent and consistent encyclopedia. And what we found in my PhD work is there is an important nested organizational structure inside the Wikipedia community, which are called wiki projects. And these wiki projects play an important role in managing the activities in the whole community. So just like America has 50 states, and the Wikipedia community actually have hundreds of active subgroups called wiki projects, which help govern the activities of millions of volunteer workers. And I found that these wiki projects are important socialization and management hubs in Wikipedia communities. And these editors, they can seek help and find collaborators. And these new members learn from the experienced members. And they actually can guide and organize. These projects actually have these mechanisms to guide and organize editors' work. And they also, wiki project offers a protection against unwarranted reverts and editor wars. But we also found from our data and from our work is that there is a recent decline of these wiki projects, and a lot of wiki projects sort of are struggling because of the shortage of newcomers. So this is something that concerns the Wikimedia Foundation, which is the organization that maintains the site, and we have been discussing about how to address and identify these new members for the wiki projects. However, identifying new people who are suitable for these wiki projects is not a trivial task. So as of July 2017, the English Wikipedia alone has about 500 active wiki projects covering about 3.6 million articles. And there are about 2.9 million editors who had more than 10 edits in their editing history, Wikipedia editing history. And there are about 38,000 new editors registering the site on a monthly basis. So the next thing we can think about is maybe we can actually design an intelligent recruitment system to help these wiki projects to automatically identify, recruit, and retain these suitable new members. So this is basically the goal of this project. However, creating a recruitment system is inherently quite challenging job, quite challenging task. And we also heard about Amazon has actually abandoned its recruiting tools, which biased against the female applicants. So one of the inherent challenges is that there is no clear ground truth. So it's not clear who is actually suitable for this job or for these groups or not. And it is particularly challenging to build these intelligent systems in the context of Wikipedia due to the community acceptance to the AI technologies. Actually, our collaborator, Aaron Halfaker, wrote this paper, talks about these early AI technologies in early days in the Wikipedia community. And he concludes that the AI tools fail. A lot of AI tools built for Wikipedia community failed because they are insensitive to the contributors' motivations and the community values. And what makes designing intelligent tools for the Wikipedia community even more challenging is the recent tension between the Wikipedia community and the research community. So research that performs an offline analysis of article content and editor actions is typically not controversial. For example, if you want to create a Word2Vec based on the Wikipedia corpus, it is completely not controversial at all. However, the community tend to react strongly to studies that will involve, they call it interventions. So studies that, according to their own word, will affect Wikipedia's natural state and will often encounter resistance from the communities. So actually, an experiment study like conducted by researchers from MIT and the University of Pittsburgh in 2017 actually received strong pushback from the community, which led to the blocking of the research accounts, months of heated discussion in the Wikipedia community, and a creation of new policy in Wikipedia called Wikipedia is not a laboratory. And this Wikipedia editor actually precisely described like what the Wikipedia community wants. So this is actually a comment on another controversial research like a proposal which was eventually withdrawn due to the strong pushback from the community. So this editor said, if this proposal was an earnest effort to improve Wikipedia, the researchers would have worked with the community from the start to design a study that were consistent with our needs and values. So this is what the Wikipedia community wants. Go ahead.
Sorry, so when you say intervention, does that mean, for instance, automated editing or experimental editing of the...
Yes. So anything that is not like external to the community. So the things you just described is like editing, like making additional edits. Like, for example, the studies MIT people and the university people will do is like they will have some people to edit half of the articles, but like leaving the other half of article as control. So they want to see what kind of like edits will like have effect. So, and anything like what we do is also intervention. So we are going to create this new like recruitment systems to deploy it in Wikipedia. And although we are arguing that, or we are doing this for your own good, but what they want is that to do something that anything that conducted in Wikipedia had to be really consistent with their needs and values.
So they don't mind sort of read-only research.
So I will talk about that a little bit. So actually, there is also discussions like inside the Wikipedia community. Some people like strongly say that we do not need any research at all. But then there are other people saying that, oh, there are still like group of researchers who are doing something that really will benefit our communities. We should not ban like everything, and which I'm going to talk about at the end. So it's like our study actually have some positive effects on the relationship between the research community and the Wikipedia community.
But what about things like translation, or automated translation?
Automated translation, yeah. So they are actually also using these tools for translations. So using tools as translations, it's in generally fine because they will, but they still want human to like edit the actually translate, this translation before you actually put on the like you put on the Wikipedia. And they also want that if you do, but they do like if you are doing this, it's fine if you do it like alone. So it's like every time I translate, I first like use the machine like learning transcription systems and then edit my edit before put on. But if you are going to do it at large scale, then you need to get approval from Wikipedia community.
Some Wikipedias may be Swedish. I don't remember which one actually has automated ways of generating pages and generating maybe translations.
Yeah, so that's another good point. So it's like right now Wikipedia has about like 50 different language like editions. So every individual like a Wikipedia like language edition is its own community. So now I'm focusing on the like English Wikipedia. So English Wikipedia has this policy. So it's Wikipedia is not a laboratory, and they really, if you want to do something, you need to do something that's consistent with their values and needs. So, however, in order to like when we think through like satisfying these community needs and values, we also identify additional challenges. So a recruitment system that will operate in Wikipedia actually involves multiple stakeholders. So there are like newcomers to Wiki projects. And there are like current project members, and there are like Wikipedia as a whole. And they want different things. So these newcomers to Wiki projects, and according to the interviews and surveys, and they told us that they value mentorship. They want find the mentors in the project. They value mutual interests. They want to join a project that align with their own like editing interest. But for the current project members, they value productivity. So they want to recruit people who will eventually come and then actually be productive. And the current Wiki project members, they also mention that it's important to maintain the control of their Wiki project. And we also talk to Wikipedia, like administrator in Wikipedia, they value like long-term growth of the Wikipedia community. And one thing that particularly mentioned is the new member protection. So I will spend a little bit more time talking about new member protection because this is closely, I guess it's more closely related to the fairness. So historically, like new member groups, new editor groups are like a disadvantaged group in Wikipedia because they tend to be mistreated by the algorithmic tools. So actually, for example, a quality control like a system that has been deployed in Wikipedia community for a couple of years, and eventually it turned out that it harmed the motivations of a lot of new contributors who are still learning how to participate. So to put it in a technical term, it's just the false negative rate is extremely high for these new editors. As a result, a lot of newcomers just left the communities, and when their edits were rudely reverted by the quality control systems. So, which eventually harms the overall growth of the Wikipedia community. So they really want us, like when we create these tools, we want to protect these like new editors. So the question we're trying to ask is how can we design the intelligent recruitment system that can align with these multiple stakeholders' needs and values? So when we're talking about like intelligent system, like an algorithm is essential for a component for any intelligent systems. But the traditional approach is to design an algorithm. It's basically precisely define the inputs, outputs, and the design property of the system, and abstracting away all these complicated multi-stakeholder contacts, these complex human needs and values. And so we argue that like this approach trying to abstracting a lot of this messy real world is probably not capable of really capturing this wide range of stakeholder values. So what we propose is that to really trying to integrate this like complicated multi-stakeholder context in the design, or we just design the algorithm in this complicated real world. So the key of this issue solution is to shift away from a solution-oriented approach to a process-oriented one, which I'm going to talk more here. So we published this paper at CSCW 2018. So in this paper, we propose an approach to actually consider these different stakeholder value in the design of the algorithm. So the first step is, we call it like, we need to talk to the stakeholders. We need to understand their values. So instead of like creating any like algorithms in close the door, like in the lab, we need to first like talk to the people and understand what their values and needs are. And the second step is to like based on these understanding, we want to use this understanding to inform the design of the initial algorithm. And then the third step is to trying to, again, go out to the real world and to pilot testing and deploy these algorithms with the stakeholders. And we want to evaluate and iteratively refine the algorithms based on their feedback. So I'm going to walk through these steps on how we use this like 4 steps to create the recruitment system in Wikipedia. So first, to understand the stakeholder values, so we, as I mentioned actually earlier, so we identify these 3 different stakeholders in the province, and then we define values like broadly as like what a person or group of people consider important in life. And we sometimes use the terms like motivations, perspective, needs, and interests interchangeably. And then we want to use these stakeholders' values to guide the creation of algorithm. And we think that when we create an algorithm, so we should not only consider like algorithmic approaches, specifically in our case, like how to determine the fit between the like a new member and the project. So the reason is that the algorithm cannot be isolated from the data that fuels the AI algorithm and the way how the algorithm is is presented. So in our particular case, so we think like data preparation, like specifically like who to include in the data preparation is really important because it determines who our recruitment system will target. And also, it's important to consider how to present the results to the stakeholders, that is, to whom we should communicate the algorithm output and the user interface for presenting this algorithm's outcome. So we conducted literature review and a survey to identify the stakeholder values and how the major choices in data preparation, algorithmic approaches, and output presentation, how they benefit or harm the different stakeholder values. So I know there are a lot of information on this slide. I'm not going to expect you to read all of them. I will give you some examples of how we use this table to come up with creation of the algorithm. Go ahead. Yeah.
Just the list of stakeholders, you don't include Wikipedia users at all. So is that not an important stakeholder?
So you mean readers? Yes, good point. So yes, we didn't talk to readers in our particular case. So one thing is Wikipedia as a whole, we called it all these represented by the administrators. They do consider a lot about their readers. And so we and the second thing that we also trying to find some readers, but since they are not familiar with the whole editing community and the ecosystem, so they will not be able to provide very helpful suggestions and on how these things work. But yeah, I think it's, I guess this is indeed first we think readers interest are sort of implied or implicitly there when we interview with these Wikipedia administrators to understand the goal of Wikipedia as a whole. But second is some readers, they just, or at least a few of them we talked to, they just could not be very helpful. Any question? Go ahead.
I guess you're going to tell us this, but what pool of people are you recruiting from? The world or the people who've ever edited?
Oh, so they are already editors in Wikipedia, but they haven't joined any Wiki projects.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But then, I'm going to talk more detail about even among these people. So great question. I will talk about it.
How exactly do you join a project?
Okay, so Wiki project, so that's another thing. So organically, so any people, they can go to a Wiki project and put their names in a project member list and state that, oh, I self-identify that I'm a member. But our recruitment system will, which I'm going to talk more details, is we will send these recommendations to the project organizers, and these organizers will invite these new people to join their Wiki projects. But that's actually a decision after we're considering different stakeholders, and they will make that decision. So based on these understanding of the different stakeholder values, we create the initial algorithm. So I will first talk about how we balance these values regarding the data preparation, which is who to include. So basically, we will include who to include and who to basically recruit from. So we will recruit this editor from all these new people all the editors who haven't joined any Wiki projects. But these people, they still vary a lot in terms of their overall experience in Wikipedia community. Some of them might already be there for a while, are very experienced, but some of them are brand new editors. So what we found is that the stakeholders really disagree on whether the algorithm should target brand new editors. So what we found that a lot of current project members, they just don't like these brand new newbies. They are they prefer people with experience. They think that when you recruit these new people, they won't be productive after they join the project. However, as Wikipedia as a whole, and they told us it's extremely important to retain these brand new editors. So actually, the low retention of new editor has resulted in an overall decline in the active editor base. So this is one of the primary goal for Wikimedia Foundation is trying to retain these brand new editors. So to address this tension between the different stakeholders, so we implemented called a multiple design to handle the varying preferences among stakeholders. Specifically, we included both the brand new editors and experienced editors in the data preparations, but we also rank these two types of editors separately so that these new people do not won't be overshadowed by the experienced ones. And then the second consideration is about the algorithmic approach, how to determine the fit. So we conducted data analysis on hundreds of thousands of Wikipedia editors, looking at their prior histories and looking at their participation in the wiki projects. And we identify two major ways to determine the fit between newcomer and the project, which is interest-based, and the other one is relationship-based. So the interest-based one is focused on the interest alignment between the newcomer and the project, and the relationship focus on the existing social connections or personal connections between newcomers and the current members of wiki projects. And however, when we talk to these stakeholders, they disagree. And now this time they disagree about whether we should use a relationship-based match or not. So a lot of these current project members, they are saying that, oh, we are not very sure if the people who we recruit from based on this relationship-based approach will actually be interested and be productive when they join the projects. However, those newcomers, they tend to they told us they will feel much more comfortable if they can join a project that they already have some relationship between the current member of the project. And as a result, we decide to actually balance these different stakeholders values and interests, and we implement both the interest-based and the relationship-based algorithm. So we created 4 different algorithms, 2 interest-based and 2 relationship-based. And the first interest-based algorithm is a rule-based algorithm. We simply computed the number of edits these editors made to the articles within the scope of wiki project. So it's a very simple and straightforward metric. And the second interest-based algorithm is called a category-based algorithm. So we computed a similarity score between the editors' editing histories and the topic of wiki projects. We also created 2 relationship-based algorithms. So one we called it bond-based algorithm. So we calculate the social connections between the newcomers and the current member of projects. Specifically, we look at the number of messages they send, on the wiki project talk pages, Wikipedia talk pages, on how they so between the new people and the existing people of wiki projects. And we also create a co-edit-based algorithm, which is computed the similarity of the edit histories of the newcomers to the edit histories of all the current members of a wiki project. And the last thing, the final thing we'll consider about is how to communicate the algorithm's output. So there are 2 major options that we can go with. So one is to directly invite the newcomers, and the other is to communicate with the current members first. And based on what we talk with the stakeholders and these current project members, they feel actually very strongly about directly inviting newcomers, and they don't want us to directly invite these new people. And the reason they told us that they want to be in the loop, and they want to maintain control of the inviting process. So therefore, instead of directly inviting these potential new members, we create a user interface for presenting the algorithm outputs to the current project members, and we present the top recommendations from all the 4 algorithms, separating experienced editors and the brand new editors. And this is how the interface looks like. This is an interface was implemented as an interactive table on a Wikipedia page, and it will include the basic information about each candidate editors. We also add like simple explanations on why we recommend this new editor to your group. And then we have this invite link, so they can directly click it and then invite the new people to join their wiki projects. We also have these short surveys to get their ratings to the quality of the recommendations, and they can also provide some any kind of feedback. So now with this algorithm and the interface for presenting the algorithm output, and we deploy it in the real world in Wikipedia, and to see how it actually works. So we work with the Wikimedia Foundation and with the Wiki project organizers to deploy our recruitment systems. And over a 6-month period, we evaluated over 16,000 editors and delivered 4 distinct batches of 385 recommendations to 18 Wiki projects. And now we can evaluate these algorithms. So when we talk about the evaluation of algorithms, we will first think about the algorithm accuracy. So usually this evaluation of algorithm primarily focus on the accuracy. However, we think that the accuracy is just one step towards a path, one step on the path to where we want to go. It's not the end goals. So we think that to fully understand the effectiveness of a recruitment system, we should also evaluate stakeholders' acceptance, especially in the context of Wikipedia, that people tend to be really feel strongly about the interventions, and especially intervention from the research community. So we want to know whether these stakeholders actually accept our recruitment system or not. And also we did a thorough evaluations on the impacts of these recruitment systems on the stakeholders. So I will first talk about the evaluation on the algorithm accuracy. So we look at 2 accuracy measures. One is the average rating. So remember, in the interface we have this short survey, and they can rate how good they think the recommendation are on a 5-point Likert scale. And we also look at the invitation rate. So it's the proportion of the people of the recommendations these recommended editors were actually invited by the Wiki project members. So the second one, invitation rate, is analogous to the click-through rate. Yeah.
Did you track going forward the people who were invited?
Yeah. We also tracked going forward. So which I will talk a little bit at the end. So what we found is that after they inviting the current project members, after inviting these new members, they will actually continue to follow up with these new editors and answer questions, and actually provide some additional help to these newcomers after they inviting these new people. So what we can see that actually the rule-based algorithm, which is the simplest and most straightforward algorithm, performs the best. And the recommendation was rated higher and resulting in more invitations compared to the other 3 types of algorithms. And we also actually specifically looking at the experienced editors versus the brand new editors. And we found that the average rating and the invitation rate were not different between the experienced editor and the brand new editors. So this suggests that our algorithmic recruitment tool is not disadvantaging these brand new members, which is something a lot of administrators really care.
Can you define brand new? Because you need some data to see how you bring the direction.
Yeah, great question. Yeah. So the threshold we define the brand new is they made less than 100 edits, in Wikipedia as a whole. So if you made from 1 to 100.
No matter how long they have joined.
No matter how long they have joined. So that's another great question. So we believe that in Wikipedia, the experience is accumulated by actual editing. So if you join for 10 years, but you only made 10 edits, it still make you a newbie, because you still do not know how exactly to navigate the editing systems and how to interact with other editors. So we set up the threshold 100. This also is something we talk with the Wikipedia communities. That's actually, they told us that's the community consensus about the brand new editor, definition of the new editors. question. And so this is our like evaluation of the accuracy evaluation. So the next thing we evaluate is the stakeholder acceptance. So we interviewed both the current project members and the newcomers who were invited to the project. The feedback from the interview participants was very positive. They actually gave us confidence that our recruitment system is really acceptable to the communities. So this is my favorite quote from a current project member, and this editor said that this puts some science behind the recommendations and will be a great supplement to the current processes. So this quote indicates that our tool has the potential to be well embedded into the current recruitment process, like seamlessly embedded in the current process for a lot of wiki projects. And this is a quote from new members who were invited to join the project. And this new member says, thank you for reaching out to me, and thank you for informing me about this Wiki Project Africa. I appreciate it. And in order to receive some feedback from the general Wikipedia community, and we also created Signpost, which is Wikipedia's internal blog to describe our project. And this is a screenshot of some of the comments, like under our post. I'm not going to talk all the details, but in general, the comments are very positive, like very interesting, amazing creation. I'm really excited by the potential for routing editors toward active subject-focused working groups. So our collaborator, Aaron Halfaker, who is like a principal scientist at Wikimedia Foundation, and he told us that this is really like seen, like such like unanimously like positive responses in the Wikipedia community, because the Wikipedia community tend to like disagree on everything. And we also found some evidence that our project actually has some good, like some positive effects on the relationship between the research community and the Wikipedia community. So actually, this is a screenshot of some recent discussion around the Wikipedia policy on Wikipedia is not a laboratory. So this first editor said that like editors who are using Wikipedia in any way for experimentation may be banned. So it's like feel very strongly that you should not use these.
This is an opinion. It's not a policy, I see.
Yeah, so this is not a policy. This is a discussion, like opinion. So this is some people. They represent some people inside communities. Like really feel strongly that like Wikipedia is just a way to summarizing the existing knowledge in the human knowledge. It's not a way to create new knowledge. But then there is another editor who responded, said that there are a number of experiments done in good faith to increase the quality of the project or the experience of editors, the editor retention, etc. An example of a recent one is Bobo03, which is my PhD student, the Wiki project editor recommendations. So yeah, I'm happy to see that like our project seem to like become a good examples of like doing something like a research community actually doing something really good for the community. We also conducted like mixed methods evaluations on the impacts of algorithmic tools on stakeholders. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to talk about all the details. So basically what we found is that our algorithm can identify newcomers who are more suitable. And the current members did additional investigations on our recommendations and selected the most promising newcomers. This also means that our algorithmic tool might have like room for improvement, so to reduce these editors' like efforts on the additional investigations. And some editors, project organizers do complain with us that, oh, I spend too much time looking at all the recommendations you send me, which distract me, prevent me from doing other more fun things in Wikipedia. And there are also current members provide additional help and mentorship to the invited newcomers, which led to more contributions from these like new editors. So this is our evaluation of the three aspects of the algorithmic tool. And in sum, we made these contributions in this case study. We generated this knowledge of the stakeholder values regarding intelligent recruitment system in the context of Wikipedia. We created 4 different algorithms for identifying suitable new members, and we designed and deployed working systems in the field. And the evaluation showed that this system is well accepted by the community stakeholders. We also demonstrate the potential of a general design process for incorporating these stakeholders' needs and values into the creation of algorithm. So next I will spend a little bit time to talk about some of our ongoing work on the AI-based management or quality control system. Okay, I'll be very quick. So basically, the Wikipedia nowadays are like starting to adopting more and more AI to manage the activities of editors. They use the recruitment system is something we created, and we have they have the evaluation system, which I'm going to talk about, and they have the regulation system and the automated task routing and assignment systems. So. And we found this AI-based management system not just on Wikipedia. We see that this AI system like manipulates what the post you see on Facebook. It's basically automatically identify and censor this like unwanted content like hate speech, racist post. And these algorithmic systems also manage like people's activity on these like sharing economy sites like Uber, Lyft, and TaskRabbit. And a lot of people envision that in future, a lot of our like human activities will eventually like be managed by these algorithms, intelligent systems, and bots. So it's extremely important to see how we can create this like AI-based management system in the like right way to like incorporate, really reflect and respect people's value. And this is one of the like ongoing project we do, which is to redesign the machine learning-based work evaluation system on Wikipedia. So every day there are about 160,000 like new edits coming to like English Wikipedia alone, and these all edits just immediately go live. And currently Wikipedia have this like machine learning-based evaluation systems, which is the core of the system is the ORS, which is a prediction model to predict the edit quality, and the outcome, the output of ours will be used in a lot of semi-automated editing interfaces as well as some like automated agents like anti-vandalism bots. And the whole system will like evaluate the quality of the edits and then like take corresponding actions like reverts, warning, or rewards. So the challenge of this machine learning-based evaluation system is that first, again, it actually operates in diverse work contexts. It has been used in anti-vandalism, used in new page patrolling, also used for like a Wikipedia education program to evaluate these students' contribution. And in each case, we see different stakeholders and that there is tensions between different stakeholders' values. For example, some people, some stakeholders value quality control. They want to catch all the possible potentially damaging edits. But there is other stakeholder more value member protections. They don't want to falsely accuse any well-intentioned editors. And again, there are fairness and accuracy trade-off. So ORIS has been already received reports that their system, so their evaluation systems were biased against anonymous editors. But we know that once we improve fairness, the accuracy will drop. So there are a lot of tensions between different goals. So that's one of our current projects, and with Stephen Wu here. And we want to handle create ways to handle these inherent trade-offs between different stakeholders' goals in these machine learning-based evaluation systems. And this, we recently received some good news about our grants are recommended for funding. Yeah. And the whole idea is we're trying to see first, again, we talk to the stakeholders, understand their goals, and then work with them to formulate and then to define their goals. And I'm not going to go into details. And then we want to capture the trade-off. So we're going to work together to create a family of models with a spectrum of trade-offs. And then we can present all of these models to the stakeholders, but we use novel technologies to visualize the trade-offs, to allow people to navigate all these hundreds of different models and identify this trade-off, and eventually help them to negotiate and find the solutions to balance with different stakeholders' trade-offs. So that's, again, we think that we want to create empirical knowledge, novel technologies, and novel socio-technical solutions to balance different the trade-off between different stakeholder goals. So this is some, like we actually talk about how the applications on the algorithmic content curation. Actually, a lot of social media sites are trying to use this algorithmic system to automatically identify and censor like hate speech, adult content, misinformation, racist, sexist ads, and so forth. This is just an example of a recent algorithmic system on like a Tumblr and how it actually falsely flag a lot of like non-sexual like random posts as like adult contents. But this is an interesting question because there are a lot of inherent trade-offs on how you define these hate speeches and adult content. Like there is tensions between different stakeholders' values and different goals, which potentially is something we're trying to address in the Wikipedia context, and we can apply it here. So, yeah. So I guess the big picture thing is, yeah, I guess the whole idea is just, this is the final slides. So we want to integrate a wide range of human needs and values, including fairness, in the design of these AI technologies with the broader goals to improve people's lives and accomplishing these collective goals. And I think it's important to have like these interdisciplinary like efforts. Like I think there is a lot of opportunities for the collaborations between the FATSTAR like ML community and the HCI, and we are the kind of people who actually go to talk to work with the real people in real system, and then we can like actually work with machine learning researchers to identify like problems. And then I think it's important to have the partnership with industry, and there is also opportunity to create these general methods that can like achieve these goals. Okay, so and thank you for listening to my talk, and I'm happy to answer questions. I don't know if we have time for questions.
The question for the next speaker sets up.
Is there a quick explanation why the rule-based algorithm actually is the best in terms?
Yeah, that's a great question. So actually, one thing I think is really they can understand the rule-based algorithm. So the fact that they can understand this like seem to like make them like trust the results more. Yeah. So there is a trade-off of understandability and maybe the accuracy and like the algorithm.
The next talk is on procedural justice and algorithmic fairness, transparency, control, and participation perspectives by Min Kyung Lee from Carnegie Mellon.